One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, 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 oh, glory, glory. Hands to the heavens.
I'm Isaiah O. Pinckney, a graduate in the class of 1952 from Mobile County Training School. I enrolled here in 1948 as a freshman, coming from the Ella Grant Elementary School in Pritchard. My two older sisters had attended Mobile County Training School. My older sister finished in the class of 1942, and I think my other sister finished in 1945. And so they had talked about Mobile County Training School so often that it was almost a known fact that I would be attending. And then my uncle finished Mobile County Training School in 1932, I think. He had also already finished Dunbar, but Mobile County Training School was accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, and so he wanted that additional year. I think he said Dunbar went to the 10th grade and graduation, and County went to the 11th grade. And a few years after his coming, I think in 1934, Mobile County Training School was accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Secondary Schools. It had previously been accredited by the state, but it was one of the few schools that was accredited by the Southern Association. And so, and of course the Mighty Whippets, we always heard about the blue and white, and so that was an enticement for me to attend County.
I grew up in Pritchard, Alabama, which was in an area really called between the Bayshore and Bull's Head. It was a tight-knit community. Most of the mothers stayed home. Few worked, did days work for the white people out in Mobile, in West Mobile, and for them to get to work, they had to take at least 2 buses to get to their place of employment.
I taught here at Mobile County Training School until it was closed. I was here 24 years, and I graduated from high school here in 1941, and I started teaching in 1945. I was a freshman sponsor, 9-1, and then, you know, at that time, we taught like 35 young people in a class. So I taught an average of like 150, 155 young people a day. And that's one way you know, you would get to know all of the students. And we had no choice. We didn't know what a break was or anything like that. So those were my beginnings.
I started school at Mercy, Mother of Mercy Catholic School in Plateau. I had a neighbor of mine that was Catholic, and we went to school there my first 2 years. And after that, I came to Mobile County Training School, and I had a great impression on that because at Mercy School, all they had was about 25 or 30 students there. But when I came to Mobile Training School, I was lost in its midst. It was a big school, coming from a little school. And I enjoyed my time here at Mobile County Training School.
But being in Mobile County Training School was a great experience for me. I really enjoyed being out here in Plateau. I didn't know anything about Plateau until I came out here, and then I began to learn about Plateau and the historical things about Plateau. I had not heard of Mr. Curjo Lewis and all of that, but when I got to county, we heard about all of this. And that's why I like the tradition of county, because it kept the history alive. It let us know that there was a before and up to now, and they told us about that. And when we had Founders Days, that was a big time for us, because we got to know about a lot of the history. They brought back people who were relatives to Mr. Whitley and all of the others who had come after him and all of that. And so it was just a joy to be at county, because I learned a lot.
My first impression of county went back as far as I can remember. I always admired the girls with the beautiful starched and ironed blue dresses. And I always wanted to wear one long before I was able to go to school. I started at county in 1941 in the first grade, and spent all of my school days, elementary and high school, on the same campus.
Well, you would have thought it was an Easter parade at Thanksgiving. Everybody put on their best. They had, at the time, Kalinskis, you know, the little fur piece. They dressed up. Plateau was quiet. Everybody went to that game. See, it was a parade, you know. They would have a parade on Davis Avenue. And all the clubs participated. We would have contests. Who's the Artisan Club? We were noted for just decorating cars, and you think of themes. And the avenue, you would leave the avenue and go on to the games if you wanted a place to sit. It was just that packed. And you know, the few cars you could park then, you know, without too much trouble. And as my mother would always say, we couldn't have the Thanksgiving meal, table and everything would be set. And if we won the game, everybody ate up the turkey. But if we lost, you know, it was a sad day. But we won most of the time.
The young people today need to dream more. They don't dream for better things. They just want to exist. And people without a dream and without a hope will perish. Too many times now, people of my generation look back and say, we gained integration and we lost the race. We tend to pick up all of the bad habits of the other side, have little or no appreciation for the good things from our culture. And if we could get them to want something, it's difficult now for our young girls to find young black men who want to be something in life, strive to be a man.
All I can say is, we are going to have to keep the history in front so that somebody will hear it and pray that somebody will carry it on. Because all of us are going to leave the scene, and we don't want it to be that when we leave, everything that we have laid out dies out. So we got to make sure we pass it on to some of the younger generation, some kind of way, so that somebody or somebodies will be left to carry the history on, because that's what's important. And that's what black history is all about. If we don't keep talking about black history, it's going to phase on out. So we've just got to keep spreading the message and hope that somebody else will lock on and say, well, I know this part, so I can tell that somewhere. And no better place to start than in the school with these students we have now.
What's being done here is something that perhaps needed to have been done long ago, and I would like to see when we read our history, Mobile County Training School history, we see a lot of names that are listed of people who build the foundation on which we stand today. But we don't know, it would be good to have a biography of some of those personalities so we'll know exactly what they did and where they are today. For instance, we have mentioned Mr. Whitley, Isaiah Whitley, as the founder, but that's just about all we know about him. But if we had some biography from relatives about where he went to school, what kind of things he did, he accomplished, and what impacted his life to the point that he was so interested in developing a school in this area. And so I think that's what I would like to pass on, just to pass it on and let our present generation know what has happened and know that we are standing on the shoulders of great personalities. And so we need to kind of try to perpetuate and carry on the life of those persons, and don't degrade the school through your misbehaving, but by always striving to be a little bit better.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be